Sorry, someone was talking about a purple background with light text. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. One of my one of my backgrounds got the attention of somebody, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is being talked about. Yeah, this might take a moment. By the way, for whatever reason, all of my backgrounds that I'm using for my desktop, they're always being moved to a Display Fusion uh, application folder, and that's not where it's supposed to be. I don't know why this is, but just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and scroll through these. There was a reference to a purple background with light text. It's definitely not that. Although I do wish I had that. It's a test build by Sapphire.
Are you sure you even have something that remotely fits the person description?
That, that looks actually pretty nice. That, that sapphire one.
I wish I had that. By the way, here's a parody iMac ad, and there's a proper use for Apple Towers. You'll see it in a moment. A arcade joystick with a bubble ball top. I wish I had that. A hoary arcade controller. That's something I wouldn't mind building. I don't know about buying, but I would love to build one like that. Still need to put together the housing for a controller I'm trying to put together. There's a Mortal Kombat PlayStation 3 controller, and it's made to look like the original arcade panel, which is kind of nice. And there's a nice joystick with wood grain finish.
Oh, wood
Looks really,
paneling.
it
I
looks
remember when that
looks really nice.
wood paneling. I remember that when that was the big thing for like everything.
Pretty much everything back in the '80s was actually no, it was the '70s. Everything had to be made of wood.
I remember going into a house that was built in the 70s, and an additional room that they added on had wood paneling around it for the walls itself. The rest of the house was just regular drywall with paint, but this additional room that they added on was wood paneling. Station wagons had wood paneling.
They did. Sorry, I was getting a drink, some tea. Some models did have wood paneling. Oh, and here's an NES dual panel controller. It looks like an oversized NES pad, but it's made for two controllers, which is nice.
I remember a few years ago, I saw someone took a bunch of pictures that they actually had a table, like a full size like coffee table. They turned into a giant working NES controller. And I was like, that is so nerdy, and I want it right now.
There's a MAME cabinet painted yellow to look like a Pac-Man cabinet, but oh, what's that on the marquee? Super Mario Brothers.
Wait, what?
Someone bought a Super Mario Brothers marquee for a MAME cabinet.
Wait. There was a Super Mario Bros. Cabinet at all.
There was indeed an arcade game. Yes.
Wait, is that Super Mario Brothers or just Mario Brothers?
No, there was a Super.
You really? There was an arcade version of Super Mario Brothers 3?
No, no, no,
Wow.
no, 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 no. The first one. Actually, that's not entirely accurate. This was this was made after Super Mario 2 was made, and they took some of the levels from Mario 2 and put them in place of some of the repeat levels in Mario 1.
Weird.
Interesting.
And when I say
So pretty much it's a cabinet is a combination of of Super Mario Bros. And the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2. Right?
Yeah.
Am I reading that right?
yes,
Ah.
it was insane to say the least. What else do we got here? Ooh, the Triforce hardware. For those that don't know, Triforce was an arcade. It was an arcade board that was set up as a joint venture between Nintendo, Sega, and Namco. Hence the name Triforce, because it involved three different companies. It was kind
Me and
of
my brother
a
did find a player's 10 choice cabinet and a Mario Bros. Cabinet at a place near us.
But yeah, the Triforce, it was a weird combination of Sega's Naomi hardware and the Nintendo GameCube, hence the indigo color finish. But it was but it was a supercharged GameCube.
Speaking of GameCube, I have one, and I only have 2 games for it. I don't know what other games are good for it. I have Paper Mario, and I have Twilight Princess.
You know, a while back I actually played Twilight Princess. I just never got around to finishing it. I really should.
When I first got my GameCube, I played it for a little bit, but I haven't went back to it. I don't even have my GameCube hooked up. I got it sitting with all my other consoles. I just don't have it hooked up.
The Atari 2600 Junior system. Own it now for only $50. And it came in a nice little lunchbox box. A lunchbox style box, yes. I think they wanted to give the impression that you could take it anywhere. But they really wanted to sell you on the idea of this competitor to the NES for only $50.
What was it?
The Atari 2600 Junior.
Anything past the original 2600 is a blunder. What the hell are you doing, Atari? Stop! You are a bunch of fools.
How much did the original 2600 go for?
It was around 200, I think. You know what? I should probably ask an expert. Hey, Mom.
You know,
Can you come here for a second?
the worst. They should have just stopped at 2600. The 5200 wasn't that great, and
How much?
their attempts
How much was the
at
original
handheld were
2600
pieces
you
weird.
had got it?
I'm not really sure.
And the Jaguar was, what the hell are you doing? No, your 64-bit idea backfired.
You know what? At least they tried to be innovative. They failed, but they tried. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, well, it's the only system where you're gonna find the bizarre bad game based off the Highlander cartoon.
Okay, Mom unfortunately does not remember how much she and Dad spent on the 2600. However, she does remember how much the system organizer, which is kind of like it's kind of like a storage box for the unit as well as a bunch of games. She does remember spending 30 to 35 bucks on that, which ain't
So
bad.
the Atari 2600 Junior was a little bit more than that.
The original was definitely more than that. The junior was only 50 bucks. I do know that much because that's what it is. It's a slimmed down 2600.
I remember my
Question: what were they trying to do by selling you a thinner 2600?
2600 came out first. Then later on down the road, they came out with the slimmed down version.
And then why did they come out with it? I didn't ask. I already know it came out later. Not that stupid.
Why it came out? They wanted a piece of Nintendo's pie. They were just coming out
But
and they were already catching fire. They are.
Okay, yeah, okay. You should have made a new system with better graphics, not try and sell the old thing.
They kind of sort of did, but for whatever reason they held off on it, which was a stupid move.
Hold up on the 5200?
No, the 7800. The 5200 was made back in 1984, but it flopped. Take a guess why.
My bad.
Was it? I want to say there's something that's telling me about
What
a
happened?
system that entertained people, but by a company that first started off by selling cards.
I have a question. And because I'm now really good. Whatever happened to the 7200 and
The 7200 originally came out in 1984, not too long after the 5200 flopped, but they held off on it and then remarketed it in 1987, long after Nintendo had established itself in the United States.
and was a god, and nobody could defeat Nintendo at that time.
Pretty much. Atari failed and failed miserably at that point.
And then they tried like Jaguar and we all stare and go, "You don't understand what's going on anymore, don't you?"
So I'm thinking that Atari just holds on to licenses for their games, and that's how they stay around. Does that sound about right?
They just became a game maker only, sort of like Sega. After Sega botched up by making the X32, then put out the Saturn, then abandoned it fairly quickly and went to the Dreamcast. Everybody thought, and then whatever caused the Dreamcast not to be popular killed Sega's attempt to doing any more consoles.
I miss the days when Atari made computers.
Those are long ass gone.
Mm-hmm. And it's all because Jack Tramiel wanted to own all of the computer industries. He was a greedy motherfucker.
Who the hell are you talking about?
Jack Tramiel was the CEO of Commodore, who, make no mistake, the Commodore was an awesome console.
Before Apple and Windows walked in and went, "Hey, Commodore was the king at one point, I guess.
It kind of was. It had an affordable computer. However, the CEO was greedy. He wanted to buy up Atari, and he was going to set his sights on Apple. However, his own board of directors threw his ass out, and he wound up taking the reign of Atari. And this was around
And
the time the game crash was about to take place, and
and he screwed up Atari and made it start going sinking into the what the hell are you doing with your consoles?
Now, I've heard about video game crash
That
of
was
the
because Atari made bad port of Pac-Man and made a what the hell are you trying to do with ET?
no,
why would
no, no,
why
no,
would
no,
one
no,
that
guys,
doesn't make
no,
sense.
guys, no. The reason the gaming crash happened was because there was too many consoles, too many choices, and and just way too much crap. Too much games that were the same. And yeah, it didn't help that we had a complete prick that was mismanaging Atari.
Yeah,
But
everyone seems to want to blame Atari's games like their attempt at Pac-Man and ET for the crash.
it's an easy target.
Now, since it seems like indie developers are becoming more and more of a thing for video games, do
This
you
is true.
think do you think big developers like like Bethesda, like Rockstar, Rocksteady, do you think they will over time they will end up going away because it seems like it's starting to get saturated? Do you see a game developer crash like there was a video game crash in general because of a possible oversaturation of developers?
Don't know, but it doesn't help that the games media is in bed with a lot of these indies, so you can't tell if their reviews are honest.
It's still too soon to tell. Uh, oh, sorry, I made a burp.
Is Lord Cat rubbing off on you?
I've always had bad gas. I just didn't have a microphone until 3 years ago.
Well, none of your names have come up so far, so you're in the clear so far, Theta.
So Reese, what was your first console that you had?
My first console was a Commodore 64. Now, to be fair, it was alongside an Atari 2600, but the Commodore stood out more. And speaking of which, there's for the longest time, I think it still is. Um, there's my there's my splash window for when I'm offline. It was done with a Commodore 64 emulator. Now, at the time, it pointed to the Lord Cat wiki, but it's no longer it no longer exists. So
Crash made it in a way where Lord Cat couldn't even access it, so it died.
there was problems. That's all I can really say. I don't know the details, and quite frankly,
We know a crash on a server crash happened. He
let,
went to
let's
fix it, and it could and that's the only thing that couldn't be salvaged for
let,
some
let's not
reason.
let's not dwell on the past. Let
I agree. Let's look at the future.
And the future is a void of nonsense.
Is it truly a void of nonsense? I don't really know. I don't think it could be a void of nonsense. By the way, if you ever wondered what all of the symptoms of playing the Stanley Parable are, there you go.
What? I've never heard of a Stanley Parable.
Stanley Parable was an indie title that was centered entirely around
Screwing around with the story and finding all sorts of wacky endings, like one where your company blows up, or another one where you had where the guy has where the narrator has to reset several times because of certain things and tries to use a line and it backfires horribly, or where you wander off and find a place where the narrator finds peace, then to end it in that ending you have to piss him off by trying to kill yourself.
But yeah, here's all the so-called side effects according to the demo. Screaming and yelling, constantly never stopping, ever and shrieking and growling and generally being a dick. Being on the sun, becoming the sun. Passing the time day after day with menial distractions while your aging body slowly decays and inches its way toward death. Depression, acceptance. Thinking it's Tuesday when it's Wednesday. Rock solid abs. Emotions, punctuating everything you say with clapping. Teaching chemistry. Losing all of your earthly possessions but gaining eternal enlightenment. Feeling upset when bad things happen to loved ones. Having more eyes. Giving up soup forever. Standing in a large green room looking at a list of side effects. Standing up for your beliefs. Standing still. Only moving your feet? Incorrect use of punctuation. Understanding exactly what this game is and how it plays and what you do and how you win, and then deleting it off your hard drive and doing something else. Playing a video game. Playing a video game wondering who? Not wondering who? Not playing video game. The ability to smell fear. Thinking you have the ability to smell fear. Thinking you have the ability to smell fear. Being better than other people. Loving yourself just the way you are. Not experiencing side effects. Turning that frown all the way down. Not playing a demo. Repeating yourself. Not playing a demo. Repeating yourself. Locked in bitter struggle with your alter identity. Repeating yourself. Being Spider-Man. Loss of all bodily control. Regaining bodily control. Bodily control remaining the same. Unable to see the colors blue, orange, and red. Little joke there, obviously. Nausea. Uncontrollable bleeding from every orifice. Breathing heavily. Breathing. Making lots of noise with your big fat mouth. Vomiting. Eating your vomit. Vomiting your vomit. Stop eating vomit, bro. Hey, why can't you respect my decisions? It's my life, it's my life, it's my life. That's the Stanley Parable in a nutshell.
And that one about the sun reminds me of a video where it was where it's a hot day. Waluigi gets pissed at the sun, launches himself into space, based directly at the sun, and somehow becomes the sun.
What was your first handheld console, Reese?
Oh, Jesus.
If you want to know mine, it was a Game Gear. Sega's only attempt at goddamn. Damn.
You had a Game Gear? What games
Yes.
did you have for it?
The Sonic Chaos.
Love that game.
I had the Lion King one.
You want to know what my first ever handheld was? Instead of getting a Game Boy, my folks thought it was a great idea to just give me this.
What was this?
You're going to see it in a second.
I'm not looking at your stream.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah,
I'm
watching
not.
the stream now.
It's not a personal problem. It's I'm playing another game at the moment.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I remember those.
What was it, Theta?
Just have to watch a stream.
You too. Told you I'm playing a game myself, and you're telling me.
Hey, I'm playing a game as well, and I'm still watching a stream.
Fine.
Well, it's down now.
Just tell me what it was since I missed it.
But Reese, I don't know if I'd really consider that a console.
What was it?
Did
It
you?
was one of the. It was one of those Tiger handheld games.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't. It was a pinball.
No.
It was a pinball one.
It
I,
was.
I
It was
actually,
a pinball game. Yes.
I actually had a.
Tiger is sort of like the. It's like the bottom of the barrel. If you, all bad games are better than Tiger Electronics, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that was the start of. You know how you would tell your grandparents, like your grandparents would say, "Well, what do you want for Christmas, or what do you want for your birthday?" I want a Game Boy. Your grandparents had no idea what a Game Boy was, except for that it was a video game system. That's all they knew. They would go down to the drugstore to get the prescriptions, and they would see a knockoff of a system there. A cheap one that was like 50, maybe like $50, that had like a title that made you think it was like a Game Boy or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
The Tiger handhelds was like that shit because they were cheap.
Does explain the existence of the movie knockoff like Asylum.
Hey, I loved Sharknado. I actually bought that. I
There's
actually
a
found
third
it.
one. There's a third one coming.
Went to Walmart yesterday and they had Sharknado in the $5 bin and I bought that shit.
There's a second Sharknado in New York, and now there's a third one coming that's supposed to be in Washington, D.C.
Yep, I saw the my family and I, we watched Sharknado 1 and 2 back to back when we were on a family trip, and we just riffed on it the whole time on both of them. It was great.
For those watching
Yeah.
the stream, this what I have up now. This is an Amiga computer, but it has a little something special attached to it. It's called a video toaster.
What?
And what
The
this
hell?
is, it's
A video toaster.
What is a video toaster, you might ask? It's a graphics card with special video editing tools, as well as what exactly is it called? Help me out. How do you make 3D graphics?
3D rendering software?
With special 3D rendering software that was supposedly like the industry standard at the time. And would you believe an entire TV series was made with this?
What TV series was made with an Amiga?
Think of a space station in space, 5 miles long, living in neutral territory.
Deep Space Nine?
No, but you're close.
Then wait, then what was it? Because I can't think of anything that's, I want to say, thinking of
place-
something
Babylon
else.
5?
A place
Space 1999?
a place of commerce and diplomacy for 250,000 humans and aliens.
Okay, I definitely don't know what you're talking about.
Theta already got it.
Oh,
Yes, it was Babylon 5.
the original Babylon 5 was made on an Amiga.
Yes.
Okay,
Things I
So
did
that
not know,
means-
but glad I know now.
wait, does that mean the Amiga was powerful enough to show video?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. I thought most computers around that time were not powerful enough to show any goddamn video.
Ask about the Amiga sometime with your tech buddies. You will get some nerdgasms like you probably would never believe. the Amiga was hot shit.
So Amiga was beyond powerful compared to everybody else.
At least up until at least until around the time of Windows 95, 98, I think. I'm trying to remember what the standard was at that time. I do know that there was the Voodoo 6 that was 64 megs of video RAM,
I don't.
and that was supposedly the most powerful around.
I'm going with Windows 90. I was talking about Windows 95 is where you would go, or Mac, depending on which side you're on for some reason.
But yes, for those watching the stream, yes, I am indeed flipping through all of my backgrounds. Just for the heck of it.
Oh, but Wheel Girl, going back to handheld consoles, I actually have a Game Gear in my possession. The only problem I have with it is the battery is shot, and the AC adapter is very loose, so I have to hold it in place while I play. And yes, I do have Sonic Chaos.
Do you have the other Sonic game that was on there?
No, the only game I have is just Sonic Chaos for it.
There was an original. There's a version of Sonic 1 on there for the Game Gear, and there was also Triple Trouble.
But my first handheld console was a Game Boy Pocket. And I had a friend who I didn't get to see very often, but he had a Game Gear. Whenever he would come over to visit, we would switch game systems. So I would get to play his Game Gear, he would get to play my Game Boy. I had, let's see, for my Game Boy, I had Pokemon Blue, Mega Man 2.
I bet that was a crappier downgraded version.
No. Mega Man 2 for Game Boy was just as good as the other one.
So pretty much the same game minus color.
To a point, there was no password save, and if I remember correctly, you only had 4 level bosses before you went to Wily.
Well, there was less data to store.
The graphics at that time, the graphics for the Game Boy were actually a little bit more detailed than the Nintendo one. I had some Star Wars, like I want to say it was like a Return of the Jedi game, and I had some other.
That must have been some fast working, because if you saw like the Super Mario Land, that's very pixely.
Oh yes, I had Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land. I had that for Game Boy as well, and I played the shit out of that.
Yeah, I know that was somehow a huge. They made a huge leap quickly, because I had played Super Mario Land 2, The Secret of the 6 Coins, or something.
So, so my first handheld console,
Basically,
was
the majority's first handheld.
Yeah. But something interesting, interesting to me at least. I like that achievement unlocked, left the house.
I made a bird happy. I just made a bird happy with a painting of Gorbachev.
Let's see. So my NES and my Game Boy Pocket, those out of all the consoles that I got, those were the only two that were given to me that I did not pay for. All my other consoles after that, I paid for with my own money that I would go and do odd jobs, made money to go get them. I had a Game Boy Color after my Game Boy Pocket died. I had a Game Boy Advanced that didn't last very long because I bought it used and I got ripped off on it. I also it had a lot of corrosion in it as well. I had a PlayStation. I still have my PlayStation 2. I have a PlayStation 3. I have an Xbox 360. I have a GameCube. I have a PSP. I have a DS. I have a 2DS. All of those consoles I bought with my own money. So what was nice is my sister had a Super Nintendo. So I got to play the very first RPG I ever played before I even knew what an RPG was. Can you guess?
Secret of the Seven Stars?
No.
So not Mario.
No. The very first RPG I played was on an SNES. What do you think it was?
The Mario one I'm thinking of was on the SNES.
So that wasn't it. Do you have a guess, Reese?
Was it one of the Final Fantasies?
Yes.
Was it four?
What? The American 3 or the American 2?
No.
Mystic Quest.
Yes.
That was an okay game. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. But it did what it set out to do. It's an introductory to RPGs.
That's exactly what it was for me.
And it did have
It's a lot
kick-ass
of-
music.
Hell yeah, I love that music. Now, I love that game. It holds a lot of nostalgic value to me. But I will say, it was a pretty crappy game when you compare it to the other classic JRPGs, like the other Final Fantasies of that time. But you know what? It was my first love, and it's gonna hold a special place in my heart. It was before I even knew what an RPG was. So I played that, and then I also played, it was either Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 2. See, I never had a Nintendo 64. I only played a Nintendo 64 one time. I was at some house party that my parents drugged me to because it was one of their friends. And they're like, yeah, you can go ahead and go into this bedroom and they have a game system there. So, the game that I got to play that was on the Nintendo 64, it was a Star Wars game. Can you guess what that was?
The goddamn bad pod racing one?
Shadows of the Empire?
If I was only so lucky. But no, it was a good one. It was not Shadows of the Empire.
Wasn't Rogue Squadron, was it?
No.
Oh.
It was a pod racing one, wasn't it?
No.
I'm hoping it wasn't the Episode 1 game.
Nope. This took
I'm out of
place
ideas.
during Rebel Assault.
Apparently Reese doesn't remember it, and I never played it, so I never knew about it.
Rebel Assault, wasn't that on the Sega CD and the PS1?
They did a port of it to PS1 because I have that port, but it was also on the 64, I believe.
Huh,
Maybe,
I don't,
maybe it was.
I don't remember it being on there. It was a FMV game.
Yes. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I'm mixing up my systems.
We worked very hard to make sure this picture would be missing something, a maze of wires, because we've always felt tangled wires and cords got in the way of enjoying home video entertainment. So we
If it
replaced
did, then nobody would actually want the home video entertainment system.
so we replaced them with infrared controllers that allow you the same freedom of movement as a TV remote control.
And it turned out to backfire because the game controller is not a remote.
Can you guess what console this is?
Jaguar. They
No.
would do something that's stupid.
No.
Um,
A weird attempt from Sega.
Nope.
I would say one of the later Atari ones.
Nope.
Nintendo did something. This is their first really stupid idea before the Virtual Boy.
No, but you're getting warmer.
Okay, so it's Nintendo did something.
Yes.
The Super NES.
You're getting warmer.
The NES.
You are correct.
Ooh. And then they realized...
We also make lots of other wireless peripherals for the advanced video system, like a joystick, a combination light wand and gun, a data recorder, even a keyboard. In fact,
And
the
they
only
slowly
wires
learned that...
in fact, the only wires you'll find are the two cords that plug the cartridge controller. That's a weird set of words there. Into the wall and into your television. This is an advertisement for the Nintendo Advanced Video System. This was when Nintendo was going through Atari to distribute the Famicom. It was a deal that fell through because the gaming crash was what was taking place.
But here's the question I have. Why were they trying to do wireless at a time where wireless was basically gonna suck hard?
Because
you gotta have pioneers for any new technology. That's like saying, why is someone trying to release AI because AI hasn't been done?
this was
No.
1984. It was a new concept, and they wanted to jump on it.
I don't think gaming would have been the best option to try to start with.
But yeah, if you look at the advertisement, you will see that is NES Golf in the TV screen.
Not open? At the time, Mario wore basically a Star Spangled Banner overall uniform.
No, we're talking launch title NES.
Ah, the original golf.
Yes.
The most boring of all golfs that Nintendo ever made.
That's up for debate.
I remember when I got my Nintendo and it came with a copy of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt on the same cartridge. And it came with the light gun, of course.
Ah, the light gun. Such memories.
The game system is sitting on top. It looked like it was sitting on top of a floppy disk drive.
Oh, you mean this? You'll see in a second. If you're talking about the family computer sitting on top of the family computer disk system, you are correct.
Yep, there it is. So wait, so that was an actual 3 1/4 inch floppy reader?
More like 2.5 inch.
How much data could that hold?
512K, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is how Metroid, Zelda, Kid Icarus, and a whole bunch of other popular games originally got started. They were on discs and they could save data, so yeah, it was awesome. It also had a bunch of additional sound channels, so Metroid, Zelda 2, Zelda 1, uh, Kid Icarus, Doki Doki Panic, which became our Super Mario 2. They all sounded a little bit differently, and that's why that little expansion cart that's on the very top, that added the sound channels and expanded the Famicom's memory as well as its sound capabilities. Of course, eventually the cartridges became powerful enough to where it superseded the family disc. So they kind of ditched the disk drive about a year, maybe 2 years later. Yeah, they were originally planning to bring it over here, but they decided that it wasn't even necessary anymore.
No, I'm seeing these classic computer systems with paneling, and I'm just thinking of National Lampoon's Family Vacation.
And yes, Nintendo even had an official keyboard. They had Family Basic, which allowed you to write your own programs and save it to a tape, a cassette tape. If you're good with basic programming, you could make a program and make it for the Nintendo. In fact, sometime we should probably do that. Just an idea.
I started learning a little bit of basic. I knew enough to be able to call up a subroutine